transitioning, so 2018, you decided to hang up the competitive racket, and you've transitioned into, well, you describe what it is that you're currently doing.
Yeah, so now I guess that's 1.5 to 2 years later. I'm currently working for the LTA at the National Tennis Centre. Been there about 5 months, and my role is kind of essentially to man the National Tennis Centre. So in a hitting and coaching capacity, supporting all of the players coming through there on a couple of our scholarship programs and the elite guys and girls, and then also managing the day-to-day practice schedule. So essentially who's practicing with who and what people are looking for, and organising, helping organise some of the practice.
Yeah. And what have been your big takeaways in that early days? Because we've had a couple of conversations about the plus and the negative of being, let's say, a coach in your early days. Because you've spent some time on the tour with doubles players, for example, but for this, it might be your first at-base role, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so following retiring in 2018, I got straight on the road with Joe Salisbury for a couple of months. Mm-hmm. And then in 2019, did several weeks with Joe and Rajiv Ram on the ATP tour. But that was kind of ad hoc and when they wanted it, when it worked for me, and actually living over in Melbourne, Australia at the time. But yeah, this is my kind of full time in a training environment, first coaching experience. And I mean, the massive upside, as anyone can imagine, I think from me just describing that role, is I'm on court every day with the best players and some of the best coaches in Britain and from the world. So just to observe as much as anything what they're doing, and then try and help in any way I can. So finding, and I guess that's going back to that player-coach relationship, is I'm big on that, and I'm hugely respectful of it. So always trying to be aware of my place in the dynamic, and in some of the relationships I have already developed more of a kind of important assistant coach role, and some of them I'm more of a hitter and just observing and firing up a bit of banter. Yeah. So definitely seeing what the best do in the coaching and player side is brilliant. And then the drawback to that is I'm not directly coaching any of them, so you get the urge and the desire to really push yourself and challenge it. It's a bit of a safer environment, which I guess for a coach new to it is brilliant. I'm not sort of as exposed, but there are times where I'm like, I'd love to give that a run and see how that plays out over a couple of months.
It's exactly like Matt Little was one of the earlier guests on the show, and he expressed that exact same thing when Jez was leading the fitness program for Andy. He was very much having to be a diligent number two in terms of, backing the program, almost in a way knowing his place. And he said that took a lot of discipline because, of course, the ego side, and we've all got it, the ego side of you goes, I just wish I could just give me my moment and I'll show you what I can do, kind of thing. So I think that the fact that even you're recognizing it stands you in good stead in terms of there's so many, probably more than me, there's so many players that then go straight into coaching that won't have that opportunity to just almost sit back and learn from experienced people, and are thrown straight into it and give it, they almost go hammer and tongs at it with no experience.
Right.
So so there's a few car crashes happening, but
yeah, exactly. And I definitely, I think believe that on a deep sort of tennis level is that first and foremost you want to stay out of the way of their development. You can definitely put players back a step or two with the wrong kind of intervention. So being aware of that, and then just picking your moments. And that's a cool analogy. Actually, I hadn't thought of that with Matt and Jez, but I think if I was going to sort of talk to someone about how to do my role, or one day maybe I will be, helping pass over, is that self-awareness is the massive part of it, and quickly, because sometimes it's session to session, it can be 10 till 12 and straight into 12 till 2, and my dynamic within that relationship can change massively.
Yeah.
So just being aware of that, and then being courageous at times, like taking that leap and going, maybe I am stepping out of this a little bit, and maybe this intervention I shouldn't just be going for. But I think coaches really respect that too. They don't want you just sort of mindlessly out there.
Exactly what we spoke about a minute ago is they don't, the very best don't want compliant.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Louis would like you to step up, so, as much as a lot of people perceive him in a certain way, 100% he appreciates someone having the courage to step forth and commit to their opinion and go for it. So, I think I really wish if we could take that role that you have and roll it out across as many different performance environments as possible, because I think it's such an opportunity to create almost apprenticeship. Sounds like it's downplaying your role.
That's what my title is. Yeah, it's apprentice. Hitter and apprentice coach. Okay. So that's what the LTA went with.
Yeah, but it's such an opportunity for people to, God, I would have loved to have done what you're doing. I obviously couldn't hit as well as you do, but like just to observe coaches day in and day out and be around great players and great coaches is like, would be most younger, inexperienced coaches. I mean, in like early 20s, that would be their utopia. It would be dreamland.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it fits as well with a lot of ex-players. I'm not, I don't mind saying is that I wasn't up for being on the road loads. Right now, I maybe will come around to that again, but having done, the best part of sort of 15 years of constant travel, it suits that as well. So it's a great opportunity kind of all round.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it I keep going back to this conversation we had a few days ago, but this idea of having teams of people that can then take turns in going on the road. Because I think that, if you say you take, especially from a federation's point of view, you have a bank of coaches, you'll have a bank of physios, strength and conditioning coaches, maybe even things that dip into other areas like nutrition, lifestyle, and whatever. How cool would it be if there could be some sort of rota for educating and upscaling people on the road? So again, they're actually developing that person's mentality when it comes to the life and the business of a coach. Even to give financial, I don't mean financial help, as in financial advice in terms of how to manage your money when you're away, the taxes and all that sort of stuff. It would be create this 360 or well-rounded athlete, whether they make it or not. They'll leave professional tennis with a much more rounded experience.
Yeah, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I think it's gradually the tour is moving that way. It obviously lends itself to the top end where the resources are available to some of those guys and women. But it's just good to see them finding creative solutions to getting around the problem of, it is the elephant in the room. It's like 35 to 40 weeks on the road for any support staff is very difficult, and for players it's very difficult. But you're potentially at a different stage of life, but you're also the one getting to get out there and hit a running pass and get the crowd giving you the pump. So slightly different reward on